this is my first live stream, so I'm hoping this is all going to go okay. But I don't really know what I'm doing. Never done a live. And also, I've taken the decision to use my normal recording camera, my Sony ZV-1, instead of the potato camera on the laptop. So I'm hoping it's all working. But Happy New Year! It is very, very exciting. We are now 10 hours into 2023. I hope you all had a lovely evening. What did you do? Did you celebrate? I'm not someone that usually does much for New Year's Eve, but last night I actually met some friends. We went out for dinner and then we went back to my friend's house and it was very, very relaxed. It was quite funny because we were all a bunch of nanas and at 11 o'clock we were all having a cup of tea and being like, I need to go to bed. I hope the next hour goes quickly. So maybe you had a more lively New Year than me. The downside to using the camera is here, but to read is over here. So you will see my eyes darting about. But Happy New Year! Hello, Lucy. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Becky. It's so nice to see you all. It is very exciting to be in a new year. I feel like last year so much happened, which was so exciting. And now you're like, oh, I love when you get to a new year because it's just like, what could happen? Anything could happen. And it's silly, isn't it? Because it is just another day, but it feels like this renewed sense of excitement of what could happen. So it's so nice to see you all. Hi, Emma. Hi, Marta. Hi, Jill. How are you all doing? I hope you've had a lovely new year. What did any of you do? Did you have any plans? Did you relax? Did you watch the fireworks? I did very much like the drones. And I do love that Disney are now bringing drones in. They are so spectacular. And I'm like, we need more drone shows because drones are the way forward. Oh, hi everyone. Oh, it's so exciting to see you all. But thank you so much for coming. I'm very excited to share what is going to be happening this year. I think it's going to be a super exciting year. Last year was absolutely wild. I kind of started doing YouTube on recommendation from my friends. They were like, oh my God, you work in TV. So I've got like a background in doing like editing and stuff. And they were like, why not film going to Disney and tips? And I was like, yeah, and I don't know if people would like it, would people want it? So it's been amazing that this year the channel has really taken off and it's been so nice to meet so many people, and that genuinely is the best part. So thank you all so much. Oh, hi guys. Lucy, chilling at home is the way forward. Yeah, on nightlife I can't be doing. I once went to see a drag queen and they were like, the show starts at 1. And I was like, I assume you mean PM because 1 a.m. is absolute insanity. And they did mean 1 a.m. And I was like, I will never survive. I will never last that long. So I'm absolutely the same as you. Yes, Becky, the stress of fireworks is awful. I've got 2 cats and I was very lucky because I was going to do a little Cinderella dash and run straight home, but my dad came round instead. So Barry, he got to use a mug. Barry has a mug to use after Muggate. I was like, we better get him some mugs. And he came around and sat with the cats, but it's horrible, isn't it? Because the stress of the fireworks is so frightening for them. And yeah, this and bonfire night, I'm like, nope, I do not enjoy this. It's not fun. Oh, yes, I love this little Coco. This is a little Coco jumper that I got from Shop Disney. And I was like, it is too cute. And it's like a 50s style kind of like short cardigan. I've also got a little Haunted Mansion dress on. I was like, start the year as you mean to go on. So it's very exciting. But yeah, I am so excited. So last year, I had some incredible trips. I got to start the year in March by going to Disneyland Paris. And the thing that was really fun about that is I had a solo trip planned, but for 3 of the 5 days I was there, my cousin and her husband actually happened to be there. So that was so exciting because I got the best of both worlds. I got 2 solo days, but then 2 days with family, which was so fun. And then Emma's sister, Sarah, my cousin, as a little baby now, so we're really hoping to do a family trip and take Isla. She's 2 and I think she would absolutely love it. And every Christmas and birthday I just buy her loads of Disney things because I'm indoctrinating her into being a Disney fan. I'm like, Isla is going to be my like Disney twin. I'm obsessed with it. And I've never, apart from having been a kid, never been to Disney with a kid. So I think that would be really interesting to see it through her eyes. So that should be very fun. We don't have anything concrete planned, but there are discussions going on. So that should be super fun. And then in May, I went and did a little 2-day trip. I stayed off-site at Disneyland Paris for the first time, which was amazing. I'd never done that before. And it's really nice to see the location of those hotels, how close they were to Disneyland Paris, the prices. I, of course, met up with Peter. He was so much fun. We had the best time, and now we're like Disney besties chatting all the time. And we would love to meet up again. So there's all plans going on. And then, of course, my delayed Disney World trip finally happened. It was such a long build-up because obviously I booked it in like 2019, and then to have so many delays and it finally happened, you were like, I can't believe it's actually happening. It's really happening. And it was the best trip I've ever had to Disney World. The magic is very much still there. I'd been reading so much in the lead up that people were saying, oh, it's not as good. The customer service isn't great. It's just way too expensive. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, do we even want to go? Like, it's going to be terrible. And I have to say, the interactions I had with cast members were absolutely fantastic. So if you are going soon and you've been reading stuff and worrying, definitely don't worry. It has been incredible. The cast members could not have been more magical, and it definitely is way more expensive. That is something you can't go around. Luckily, in the pandemic, I did save some more money. But it's one of those things that I was hoping to start going kind of every year, but it's just so expensive now. So luckily, Disneyland Paris is a bit more affordable. So do you have any trips this year planned? Are you going to Disney World, Disneyland Paris, any of the other Disney parks? Do let me know, because I always love hearing about Disney trips. Let's have a look at the comments. Yes, Happy New Year. Hello, Danielle. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Sally. Thank you so much for joining. It is very, very exciting to speak to you all. But so yeah, basically this year is going to be very exciting. I do have some Disney trips booked already. So I have one coming up this month, in fact, which I'm very, very excited about. And the thing that's going to be cool about the trips I have this year is they're slightly different. So it's either they're visiting at a different time of year and how that impacts your trip and the cost and what you have to take with you. And then I'm also going to be doing a friends trip. So there's going to be 6 of us in total, all adults. So I think it's going to be super fun to see what adults can do at Disney. Like, I am a big believer that Disney is just as much for adults, maybe even a bit more for adults than kids, because you just get so much from it and you don't mind the waiting because you know what's going to happen. You're okay with the cost because you're like, I've saved up for this, I'm just going to go and have fun. And it's just pure escapism. So I think for 6 adults with busy lives going and having the best time, I cannot wait. So that's going to be very, very exciting. And then I have a few in the pipeline that haven't been confirmed. So we'll see what happens with them. But I'm very excited to be heading back to Disneyland Paris. I'm excited that the 30th anniversary celebrations are still carrying on. I cannot wait to see Dream and Shine Brighter again because it is the best. Oh my gosh, I'm absolutely loving. So many people are already going to Disney. I can't believe how close, I was going to say how close it is. We're in a new year now. It's not that it's close anymore. We are in 2023. So the fact that we can now all say we're going to Disney this year is the best thing ever. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Oh, let me have a look at some of your comments. Let's have a little look. Oh, Emma, it's very exciting. You're going to Disneyland Paris and Disney World. It's so epic when you could do 2 Disney parks in a year. It's so, so exciting. So I hope you have the best time. I can't believe, Jill, you're going in 7 days to Disneyland Paris. How very exciting. It's so, so fun. I love a January Disneyland Paris trip because my birthday's in January, so I like to try and go. And I think it's one of those months that's kind of underrated. People do worry about the weather being cold, but it's so much quieter, it's so much cheaper, and I think it's a really great time to be visiting. Oh, Lucy, I'm so, so sorry you did not have a good time at Disneyland Paris, especially because you were there for Christmas as well. You want to have the most magical Christmas. So it's such a shame that it wasn't what you were hoping. And yeah, I'm just so sorry to hear that because everyone wants to have the best trip ever at Disney. And if it doesn't go to plan, it's really, really upsetting because you're just like, this is not what I was planning for. And there's a lot of expectation going into trips. And if it doesn't fulfill that, it just feels like, oh gosh, there was so much build up and planning and it didn't go to plan. So I'm so, so sorry to hear that. It's very exciting that you are going in February, Jackie, to Disney World. Like, I can't believe how amazing it was. Like, honestly, it was the best trip to Disney World I've ever had. And everything felt bright and I did not think the parks looked tired or dated. Everything seemed so put together. And obviously, since I was last there in 2018, there is so much new things. And it was so fun to explore that. So it's annoying that people had trips delayed and cancelled because of the pandemic. But because of that, there's now so much more to experience that it's so exciting. So I hope you have the best time. Oh, hi, Frankie. Happy New Year to you too. I can't believe we're already well into the new year. It's going well so far. This is good news. We're off to a good start. Oh, here we go, Daniel. We're going to do a solo trip. That would be incredible. I really, really, really love solo trips. It's that sense of freedom that you can get. You just get to do whatever you like, whenever you like. You're on your own schedule, your own budget. And I really, really enjoy it. And it's one of those things that it kind of becomes a bit addictive because you're like, oh my gosh, I can just do anything I like. And you just want to keep going. And I think the great thing about going with groups is that if you're with someone that's never been before, or there's someone that really likes a particular thing, you get to see all of that joy and excitement. But with the solo trips, you just get to experience the park in a totally different way. So I hope you have the best time. It's so exciting. Yes, Tanya, it's so exciting to go to Anaheim. I am desperate to get back to Disneyland. I was last there 6 years ago, so I so want to go back. And I've only been twice, and the first time was just for a day, and the second time we were there for 3 days, but it was a very busy time of year. So I want to go back and fully explore it. And yeah, it just looks so much fun. And of course, it's Walt's Park, it's the original park. So it's just so wonderful to be there. So I'm very excited to hear you getting to go back. And if you have any tips, let us know. Oh, it's very exciting, Lucy. April. I love that now we're in a new year. Everything feels like, oh my God, it's happening now. It's happening now. The trips are coming very close. You're not thinking, oh, it's a year. It's in the new year. You're like, it's now, we're happening. So I hope April comes very quickly. You'll be back in Disney. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for your comment. That's so lovely. I hope you had a lovely Hogmanay. Did you celebrate? What were you doing? So yeah, Happy New Year to you in Scotland. Oh, Disneyland Paris in May is going to be amazing. Sally, I was there this May and I really enjoyed it. I loved that the parks were open longer. The weather was really nice. And yeah, it was so hot. It was so hot. I was just not prepared. I was like, oh, this is lovely. It's like a proper summer's day. And yeah, I very much enjoyed my little May trip. And it was great. I did it with a backpack, which is, I'm not a person that normally packs light. I think we've all seen from Disney World the ridiculous amount of bags I took. The fact that I just took a backpack, I was like, pat on the back, you've achieved something, well done. Disneyland Paris I've learnt to pack for. Disney World, still learning. Took way too many things. Oh, it's so exciting that you are going to be going to Disneyland and Walt Disney World. That is so much fun, Danny. Like, it's such a dream, isn't it, when you get to visit multiple parks in a year? And what I really like about the Disney parks is they have a lot of familiar features and similar things, but they're all slightly different. So it's such a unique experience every single time you go. So absolutely love that. Frankie, it's so exciting. You are going to go to Disney World for Halloween. I love visiting in Halloween. I love the decorations. Mickey's Lots of Scary Halloween Party is amazing. Like you say, you've got all of the snacks and special treats. Food and wine is on. Like, it's such a fantastic time of year to visit. And I also love that it's a lot quieter. I found this trip, that was something I also was worried about, is that 2022 was very, very busy at Disney World. And I think it was because a lot of people were having to take their cancelled trips, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be unbelievable. But I was very lucky. In September, the queues were not terrible. There were obviously the very popular rides did have the longer queues, but I did find that Genie Plus did help. So yeah, I hope you have the best time because Halloween is so exciting at Disney. Oh, Charlotte, yes, it's such a nightmare, isn't it? Because of Hurricane Ian. It's great that you can use the tickets still, so I hope you get to go back and use up the rest of your tickets. But Hurricane Ian really did put a little spanner in the works. I was very lucky. I also had tickets for Universal. I had 14-day tickets, and I only got to do 1 day. But luckily for me, Universal said that they will let me use the other ticket to the other dates on the ticket anytime. So it's valid for life. So that's really nice to know that you can reuse the tickets and you just didn't lose all those days. So I hope you get to go back, and it's nice to have another little trip and you know the ticket's already paid for. So that's very exciting. Oh, hi Emma! It's so exciting to hear that your trips are both solo. That's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that kind of vlogging my solo trips is showing people what it could be like solo, and it's just the most fun. Like I absolutely love just wandering around at your own pace, and I think you pick more up because you're just looking and observing. And you're like, oh, what's that? I'll have a little look. Whereas when you're with people, you're chatting and you're so excited to get to things. So you really do see the parks in a new way. So I hope you have the best time. Oh, let's have a look. Hi, Franny. You went to Disney World last summer and it was amazing, but you'd love to do a solo trip, but wish it wasn't so expensive for a single person. And you are absolutely right. That is the one downside. With Disneyland Paris, it's not too bad because they charge per person in a room. And if you're solo, there is a supplement, but it's not too bad. Whereas in Disney World, you pay per room. So if you're one person, you pay the full cost. If you go with one other person, you instantly halve your costs. And that is the one downside I would say to solo in Disney World, and why the trip ended up being so expensive. I think that was the biggest cost because you paid so much for the room. But I am trying to look at ways to do it much cheaper, and I'm going to do some videos about how to do solo trips on a budget, because like you said, there are little things that could cost more if you're solo. So if that is something people would like, do let me know. Hi, Natalie. Happy New Year. It's very lovely to see you here. Oh, yeah, solo is the best, Anya. I absolutely agree. It's just so much fun, and there's just that freedom. Like, you're not thinking, right, we've got to get up at this time, we've got to do this, and be considering of like, is this person a morning person, are they a night person? And it just complicates things sometimes. So when you're solo, you're like, oh, just do whatever I like whenever I like. And it's also that thing of, if there's anything you've ever really wanted to do, but maybe the people you're with aren't interested in tours or certain restaurants or certain rides, you could just go and do them because you're like, oh, I could do whatever I like, which is so much fun. Yes, it's so exciting, Danielle. I love solo travel in general. I've done a lot around Europe, but this year was my first time going to Disney World solo. So that was very exciting. I think the solo at Disney is perfect because if you've never been solo somewhere before, Disney is safe. You have free transportation. You've got everything you need on site. And there's so much to see and do that you're never feeling lonely, but it's also very safe. And I think it's a really good destination. If you're looking at ever trying solo travel, Disney is the best place to go because, yeah, you can just do everything. You don't need to worry about, you know, am I going to be unsafe? What transport can I use? How do I get places? Like, they've got it all sorted for you. So it's really a great destination. And a lot of it, like Disneyland Paris is the same. All the hotels are within a 15-minute walk, but have shuttles. So all of the Disney parks are quite good for solo travel. Oh, hi. Oh, it's lovely you're in Spain, Natalie. How is the weather? Over here at the moment, it's very overcast, but it's thankfully stopped raining. I hope you're having a lovely new year in Spain. What part of Spain are you in? It's very exciting. Oh, it's so nice, Jill, that you're going to be in Disneyland Paris for the last day of Christmas. I actually think going towards the end of a season is a really good time because you're still getting to experience that, but then you also get the normal park as well. And in 2021, when I went to Disneyland Paris, I happened to be there the week that they were transitioning from Halloween to Christmas. And I was like, oh no, I've missed out. What have I done? But luckily for me, actually, when I was there, it was Halloween. Then there was like a day or two where it was just a normal park. And then we had Christmas, and it was so fab to get to experience all three in like 5 days. So it was really, really good. Oh, it's so exciting. You are going to Orlando in February with your children. 7 and 5 are like amazing ages to visit. They're going to absolutely love it. I would say my top 3 tips, the one that I found super helpful this trip was taking an afternoon break. It gets super hot in the afternoon, and it's also the busiest time of day. So you can be stood in queues for very long times in the sun, and it's not fun. And then by the end of the day, you'll run ragged. So what I was doing was going out in the morning, having lunch, and then coming back for a couple of hours, and then going back to the parks in the evening. And it completely changed the way I visited. My feet weren't suffering lots. I had much more energy. And I just think this little afternoon break takes you out of those big crowds, out of the sun. It's the perfect time. And even if you don't leave the parks, if you do something like shows or have a meal where it's a sit-down meal, just breaking up the day can be really, really good. I actually really liked Genie Plus when I was there. What I would say is that you don't need to use it necessarily every day of your trip. So if you're going to Magic Kingdom for 2 days, the first day you might want to just visit Magic Kingdom and see what the crowds are like. And then you've got the option of purchasing Genie Plus later in your trip if you want it. And definitely make sure you what they call fiddle faddle. So if you keep checking and refreshing the times, you see new times pop up. So you can keep adjusting your reservations. And that was so helpful for me because if you got a reservation but it was quite far in the future, if you kept checking, you could get it much earlier. And then you fitted much more in during the day. So yeah, definitely use all those tips, but I hope you have the best time. And it's so fun to go with kids and see everything through their eyes. So that's very, very exciting. That's crazy, isn't it, Jill? That you were there in May and you're watching fireworks at 11 o'clock and it's 24 degrees. It's perfect. Like, May is a really, really nice time to visit, I think. And it's good because it's not the height of the summer holidays or anything like that. So Disneyland Paris isn't super busy, but you are still getting the really nice weather, the long hours, and it's perfect. Lucy, I love the bucket list for all of the Disney parks. I'm 100% with you. Like, I would love to visit all of them. It's so exciting you're going to Anaheim this year. I cannot wait for you to experience that. And it's just so nice because it's the original park. It's Walt's Park. And are you going to do anything there like the tour? You can do the tour of Walt's apartment. Or are you just going to go full out and experience the parks? Yes, Danielle, it's good to hear that doing solo and the tips about how to save money would be helpful, because I do think that is the one niggle or the more difficult thing about going solo is it can cost a bit more, but there are ways to cut that down. So I'll definitely do that. Hi, Jackie. I've never actually been to Efteling. I saw Sam for God's video recently and it looked so fun, especially the Snow White rooms. I loved that. And it's one of those things that there's so many theme parks in Europe that I haven't been to. So I do think it would be really fun to go and explore. I think as I get older, because my motion sickness has got worse, it's harder to go to theme parks now. With Disney, I'm like, oh, I've been on that ride before, so I know how it'll make me feel. And when I go to new places, I'm like, well, let's hope for the best. But I think it does look really, really fun. So definitely need to look into that. Have you ever been? Would you recommend it? Let's have a little look. Oh, it's so exciting there's so many of you here. Thank you so much for joining me. It is really hard finding, isn't it, when you can only travel certain times of the year, particularly if it is the school holidays. And it is such a shame that they raise the prices so much because it's just money grabbing and it's such a shame. So I would say stuff like, depending on the school holidays in other countries, it can be a bit cheaper or a bit quieter. So say Disney World, the last 2 weeks of August, we're in the UK still having school holidays, but America has already gone back to school. So that could be a good time to visit, but it is difficult to try and do all of this like mathematical, like who's on holiday when, and then working out where to do it cheaper. Yes, Natalie, I totally agree. I think the biggest fear of going solo is that you may be lonely, but I don't think there is any time to feel lonely. There's so much going on and so much to see and do. Your whole day is so jam-packed. And what's really nice is this year, the parks are open much later. So when I've been looking at my trip for this month, the parks are open significantly later than they were this time last year. Well, I think when I was there in March, the parks were shutting at like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And now, even though it's January, they're staying open till like 9 o'clock. So that makes such a big difference. But the whole day, there is stuff to do. There is no time to be feeling lonely, which is perfect. And another reason why I think Disney is great for solo travel, because in one place, you've got loads to do. You're not having to think, oh, if I want to go to this museum, I've got to travel really far, or that restaurant's on the other side of the city. And I think that can sometimes make you feel a bit lonely because you're like, I've got loads of traveling to do and just thinking. But at Disney, no time to think, just lots of time to do. Hi, Robbie. I hope you have a most magical 2023 too. I hope you had a fabulous start to the year. I can't believe we're now in a brand new year. It's very exciting. Oh, it is amazing that it is 22 degrees. It's definitely not 22 degrees here. It's significantly colder in the UK, but at least it's not raining. We've stopped with the rain, which is good news. So I've gone off-site at Disneyland Paris solo, Kelly, but I haven't at Disney World. But it is something I would consider, particularly because I like to use a car in Disney World. So it would be very easy to stay off-site. And Orlando has so many hotels that you can get really good deals. And that is something I've been thinking about doing if I go back to Disney World, is staying off-site and comparing the experience. Lake Buena Vista is a really good area that I've stayed in before, not as a solo traveler, but when I've been with other people, because it's right next to Disney. A lot of the hotels do shuttles, so that was really handy. And even if you used Ubers or taxis, it's very close. Maybe a 10-minute drive, so it wouldn't cost too much. So yeah, I would definitely say that is a good way to cut down your costs as a solo traveler. Oh, it's so exciting to read all your comments. Thank you so much. Yeah, being off-site can save so much money. And even at Disneyland Paris, if you are an annual pass holder at Disneyland Paris, staying off-site is definitely the way forward, I think. You can get the deals on the Disney hotels themselves, but they seem to have a set amount of rooms. And once they sell out, you get charged for more expensive rooms. So sometimes you don't really get the benefit of the discount. So then staying off-site is unbelievably cheap. And in fact, the trip that I'm taking this month, I'm doing one night off-site and then 3 nights in a Disney hotel at Disneyland Paris, because I'm flying on a Saturday, and the Saturday night in a Disneyland Paris hotel was going to cost more than the 3 following nights because it was a Saturday. And I was like, absolutely not. So I've got a £50 room at B&B Hotel, which is very close to Disneyland Paris. It's in the same row of hotels where I stayed this year. Well, not this year. Haven't been there. We're only 10 hours into this year. But when I was there last year and I was at Campanile, it's the same strip of hotels. So I'm very excited to stay there, and it is significantly cheaper. It was probably about 8 times cheaper to stay at that hotel than it is at the hotel I'm staying at Disney for one night, which was wild. Sally, you are absolutely right. If you are solo, the cast members are incredible. And I found when I was dining, they would always come and talk to you and chat to you. And like you say, if you're waiting for a ride or just wandering around, they're so happy to chat. And I think when you're solo, they really make the effort to make your experience even more special, because they want you to have that magical touch that you're maybe not getting with a group, so you're having these really nice interactions with them instead. And honestly, when I was at Disney World, the amount of cast members I spoke to and I had the best time was incredible. And I was just like, oh, I've got friends everywhere now. It was so fun. And yeah, the cast members really are the magic of the parks. And yeah, if you are solo, they are going to make you feel so welcome, and they're always there to talk to. So Danielle, I would say at Disney World, in Disney World itself, you can walk around the parks easy enough, but everything else is very spaced out. So you couldn't walk from one park to the other, apart from Hollywood Studios and Epcot. But there is lots of transportation to take you between the places. And also, if you wanted to visit places outside of Disney World, you would need transportation of some sort. There's lots of things in the local area, like there's an outlet mall, there's supermarkets, there's other attractions, but you would need transportation to get there. You can't really walk around Disney World. Whereas the great thing about Disneyland Paris is everything is within walking distance. So the 2 parks are right next to each other. Right in front of them, you have Disney Village, and then all the hotels come off of that. I actually know people that have also stayed off-site and have been able to walk to the parks, maybe like a 30-minute walk. So Disneyland Paris is a lot easier to get around. And I also know when I've been to Anaheim, it's so handy because it's literally right in the center of the city. So you have loads of hotels, restaurants right next to the parks. So Disney World's the only one where you can't really walk between things. But because they have a lot of transportation, it's easy to get around on site. And then you can kind of get taxis if you need to go outside in other places in Orlando. Hi, Danny. I would absolutely recommend staying at All Star Music. I loved it there. And I was really surprised because they consider it like a 2-star value resort. But what that means in America compared to like the UK or Europe is so different. The rooms were really spacious. The design was really sleek. I liked that the hotel, even though it was big, it didn't feel massive. So to walk from my room, which was kind of right at the very end of the resort, to the reception was only 5 minutes. So it had everything I needed. There was 2 pools, you had the buses, you had shops, restaurants. So I really, really enjoyed it. And I think for the price, it was perfect, particularly if you're solo and you're wanting to save money. But also the fact you have 2 double beds, if there's multiple people, there was lots of space. I did love that they've got the new like Murphy bed, so that if you don't use the second bed, you've got the table, and it just made the room feel even more spacious. And even though they're at the edge of Disney World and near Animal Kingdom, with a car, I could get to Disney Springs, which is literally at the other end, within 15 minutes. So I found them really handy to get everywhere. So I definitely recommend, I would absolutely stay there again. And like I say, even though they're value, they do not feel value to me, I didn't think. They kind of had, I think the only thing, real difference between the resorts is the level of amenities. So you'll have more restaurants closer to the parks if you stay at higher tiers. But if you're just looking for somewhere to stay, I would definitely stay at a value resort again. And in fact, when I was there, I did stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and that's coming up soon in the vlog series, which is very exciting. And I don't actually know if it is worth the extra money to stay at deluxe resorts. I did very much enjoy that you had the savannah there, and I stayed there for 2 days and I didn't leave the resort. I just ate there. It was amazing. But it was good for me because I was staying just in the resort. If I was going to the parks every day and I was out for 12 hours a day, I don't know if the extra money is worth it for what you got extra. The room sizes were kind of similar. There wasn't, I wouldn't say there was a big enough difference for me to think, oh, that is worth paying significantly much more for. So that was very interesting. So at Disney World, you do have to pay for parking at your resort. But if you are staying at a Disney resort, you don't have to pay to park in the parks. So when I was staying at a value resort, it was $15 a day, whereas at the parks, it is $25. So you did actually save some money doing it that way. One of the benefits with staying off-site is a lot of the hotels do free parking, but then of course you have to pay to park in the parks if you do have the car. So when I was weighing everything up, I compared all the prices for even things like that, because I was like, okay, I might be saving money because I'm not paying for parking there, but I'm paying more to park in the parks. And it worked out, I think it worked out something like, it was about £300 extra to stay on site at Disney. And I was like, oh, for the closeness of everything and having everything on site and the ability to use transport if I needed, it was so much handier. So I was like, okay, once I've added everything up, because I think sometimes when you just look at the room price, of course, Disney is so much more. But then once you add like resort fees, parking fees, all things like that, or transportation, sometimes the difference isn't as much as you would think it would be. Oh, it's so exciting that you actually walked from Dream Castle and it was 45 minutes. It is really handy to know that even though you are staying off-site, you can still walk to Disneyland Paris, which is super, super handy. Yes, Michelle, you're absolutely right. The boardwalk is a fantastic location because you could go to both Hollywood Studios and Epcot via walking, or you've got boats. And it's nice that you've got like not only 3 resorts next to each other, so you can experience all of them and all their dining. You've got extra restaurants and entertainment. So yeah, the boardwalk is such a nice area to stay. Definitely worth it. And I think that's the thing. When you stay at a deluxe resort, that's really what you're paying for, is the proximity to the parks and then the extra benefits of having more restaurants, more choice. So, and the boardwalk's great because you've got all of those hotels together. And that's why I think the monorail resorts are also good, because you can hop between all 3 of them. So you get much more variety in meals and things like that. Whereas Animal Kingdom Lodge, where it's a bit further out, it is the cheapest value resort, deluxe resort, because you don't have the ability to hop to other resorts so quickly. And you're not on the doorstep of a park per se. But it's a really, really stunning resort. So it's a really great deluxe resort to stay at if you're looking to do it more on a budget. And the Savannah, you can never get bored of that. It's absolutely incredible. Oh, let's have a little look. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it, when your flight times change, and then it also means you're having to add extra days or lose a day, which is very, very frustrating. If you're looking for a hotel to stay on the first night, is this in Disney World? And like you said, if you're staying just for one night, it's definitely worth looking at somewhere in Orlando that's very cheap. There were some hotels that I had looked up. Rose Inn do a lot of hotels around Orlando, and they tend to have very, very cheap rates. There's one near Universal, which is really, really, really good. I think you get free parking as well. So it's easy to get to. And you could easily probably stay there just for the night and then switch to Disney. But I would say kind of anywhere that is local Orlando would be fine, because the way Orlando is laid out, all of the touristy things are in one area. So you can very easily get between Orlando, International Drive, Disney. So wherever you're staying, you should be able to get everywhere quite quickly. So I would go for somewhere that's a good price. But I definitely looked at Rose Inn. They were one of the places I was thinking of staying at, and they come like really recommended. Oh, it's very exciting that you're also staying at the Polynesian and the French Quarter. They're two amazing resorts. I was going to be staying at Port Orleans this trip in one of the Royal Guest Suites, but they had an offer for Disney Plus subscribers to get 25% off room rates. So that's why I switched to Animal Kingdom Lodge. But Port Orleans is just such a beautiful resort. It's so relaxing. It's kind of a bit more adult feel, which is really nice. So I hope you have the best time. And the Polynesian is just so beautiful. It's like, I would absolutely love to stay there. It's so stunning. And of course, you've got Ohana, which is an amazing restaurant. Lucy, it's so exciting you're staying at Pop Century, and I totally agree. Staying on a Skyliner resort is perfect. It's so handy. I loved it. And as someone who was scared of heights, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to hate this. And it was so fantastic. And I would just go on it for fun. And any of those resorts that are on the Skyliner, it's such a benefit because you can get to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. And then again, you've also got the ability to dine in different hotels because you can just hop on the Skyliner. So I think this is such a big benefit. And I love that it's a mixture of value, moderate, and deluxe resorts. So everyone's kind of covered on the Skyliner, which is fantastic. Charlotte, I think you're so right. DVC points are something I've looked into, and I think that's the way forward. They are so much cheaper than booking a deluxe resort outright. If you use your DVC points, it's unbelievable the savings you get. The only reason I didn't do that this trip was because where it had been cancelled for so many years, I was kind of still not sure if it would go ahead or if something terrible would suddenly just, divert all of it and it would be cancelled yet again. And with renting the DVC points, the places I'd looked, I couldn't amend or cancel. You just lose all your money. So I was a bit nervous to do it, but I feel like now we're more confident traveling, that is something I would definitely do in the future. And have you ever used DVC points before? Is it something you recommend? Because the savings you get are unbelievable. Hi Peter, it's so nice to see you here. I hope you are doing well. You had a lovely new year. I've already talked about our little Disneyland Paris trip, which was so exciting. So Peter is also off to Disneyland Paris very soon for his birthday. So it's very exciting. Everyone is now saying I'm off to Disney this year. It's so good. So yeah, Danielle, it is true. A lot of people tend to stay at different resorts. And the reason I did it this trip was because originally my trip in 2020 was going to be just 2 weeks at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And then of course that got cancelled. And when I eventually started rebooking the trip, I was like, I'm actually going to do 3 weeks instead of 2. So I did the 2 weeks at an all-star resort so I could use the offer where you got the free dining credits and things like that. And then I switched to 2 nights at Animal Kingdom Lodge because, again, there was a good deal on room rates. And then I moved actually to a Universal hotel just because of the proximity to the parks there. So I think sometimes it could be a practical reason to stay at multiple different resorts. I did really like staying at Disney when I was at Disney and at Universal when I was at Universal. That was really handy because they both have the free transportation. You're not having to pay out to get between them. So I definitely recommend that. I know a lot of people that have DVC, like they actually own DVC, tend to resort hop so they can get the most out of their points. So I do think that's another reason why people, not park hop, resort hop. And it is fun. The downside obviously is you have to keep packing your bags up, but I tried to do it so that I used packing cubes and I had all of the clothes for that hotel in that cube. So that made it a little bit easier. But that was definitely, it was worthwhile. I did like resort hopping this time. Oh, it was so exciting, our trip, Peter. It was iconic. It was so much fun, and it's been so nice to meet you. So yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit now about the plans for this year. As I say, I have got some Disney trips already booked in, a few tentative ones that I'm feeling out and seeing if they're going to go ahead. So I can't wait to share all these trips, because like I say, they're a bit different to the ones I've done before, which I think will be super interesting, not just for you watching, but also for me to go and see different times of year, what it's like to visit with different kinds of groups and things like that. And then also, obviously, the Walt Disney World vlog is still carrying on. I think we've still got 2 more park days, then we've got 2 Animal Kingdom lodge days, and then Universal, which should have been for a lot longer, but Hurricane Ian turns up, which was a very unexpected twist. But I think it'll be interesting. It's weird because it's been quite a while now since Hurricane Ian, so it'll be interesting when I'm editing it to be like, oh, yeah, it was interesting, and that was like this. And so I think that should be kind of peculiar to be watching, but hopefully it'll give you some tips if some unexpected thing happens whilst you're at Disney World, particularly if it is a hurricane, what to do. And I have to say, the hotels were incredible. I was at Universal at the time, and they, everyone was safe. They did keep the restaurant and the bars and everything open. Entertainment, they have a bowling alley at the hotel I was staying at. They kept that open so families had something to do. And I just thought they went above and beyond. The fact that staff stayed, even though there was a hurricane, and I'm sure they would have much preferred to have been at home, being able to secure things, make sure everyone's okay. The fact that they stayed in, looked after everyone was amazing. So it'll be interesting to start editing those vlogs soon, I think. And something that I'm thinking of doing this year, trying out, is with the planning videos, still have the nice, long, in-depth, detailed planning videos, but also mix them up with a few shorts. So I'm thinking of doing a 60-second little clip so you can find out the top 3 rides at Disneyland Paris to go on during extra magic hours, something like that, so that if you just want quick, snappy information, you can get it instead of having to watch like a 20-30 minute video. So I'm going to try experimenting with shorts, see how that is, and if that's something you like, and we can kind of vote on whether that is something that's popular or not. And I just think that'd be handy, because I think sometimes it's nice to have, you want all the details, like how do I do this, the step by step, but sometimes you just want the quick information. So the shorts should be very exciting. And also, if you like live streams, do let me know. This has been super, super fun. It's so nice to get to talk to you. So if this is something you enjoy, we can definitely start doing more live streams, because I'm super enjoying it. So it's so much fun. And I'm so worried about it not working, because I've never done it before. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I've told everyone it's 10 a.m. and then I can't get it all to work? And I was like, oh, I like that. So I'm glad that it has been working. Frankie, that is such a good point with split stays. Split stays are also a really good way to reduce the cost. And that was another reason. I was like, there's no way I could stay on site at Disney for 3 weeks, especially solo. But Universal, it was so much cheaper to stay at Universal. And that helped to cut the costs massively. So it's great that you can kind of get the best of both worlds, and staying maybe at International Drive or Lake Buena Vista in an off-site hotel can really cut down the costs. And I've seen a lot of people, they'll do the majority of their stay off-site and then maybe do like 1 or 2 nights at their like dream resort because it's a special occasion. So that could be a really good way of doing it and making it more affordable. Let's have a little look at some more comments. Oh, I love, Natalie, that you bought the packing cubes. I am obsessed. Like, honestly, it's like a game changer to me. And I've fitted so much more into my case because of them. And it's nice to have that organisation as well and just know where everything is. And I'm obsessed with them. It's absolutely outrageous. Like, I'm going to start like some sort of like just online service just promoting packing cubes, because I can't get enough of them. I think they're so, so handy. I'm doing the news bulletins. It's coming through, Peter. It's so exciting. Yeah, and it's really interesting, Charlotte, that you stayed at Disney and Universal on your last trip as well. And yeah, it is great that you get to experience different resorts. And what was really nice as well is that I stayed at a value resort at Disney and then a value resort at Universal and comparing the two. So I'm thinking about doing a video about that so people can kind of see the difference, what they cost, what you get. And I thought they were both quite different experiences, but both still good. I would say Universal, the customer service is a lot different. A difference, the way to put it, maybe. So that was a noticeable drop in quality. But the rooms themselves, like the Universal Hotel was at Cabana Bay, it was a massive room. It was so convenient to get to the parks. Like, it was less than a 5-minute bus journey. And it ran really frequently. It had like really nice theming. And so it was really great to compare the two, because the value resorts at Universal are definitely cheaper than at Disney. But at Disney, I think you do get different perks, like the fact that you get free transportation to all of the parks, and there's just so much more to do, and you're in the bubble, and everything feels magical and joyful there. Whereas at Universal, it feels more like you're staying at a hotel, at a resort. Like, you're at Universal, but you don't really feel like you're in a Universal bubble per se. But the fact that you're so close to the parks was fantastic. So that was so, so good. Yes. So yeah, it's so interesting, Danielle, saying, because like you say, shorts, it's one of those things I'm tempted to try, because I think it'll be so interesting to see if like the quick information is handy for people. But it's one of the things we can try it, see how it goes. If it's not something that people are enjoying, we can carry on with the longer planning videos. I'm still going to be doing them as well, just because I think it's so fun to take a deep dive into things. So that's going to be very, very exciting. I love Peter's question, which is the most important question really, is the song we should all be listening. Should the anthem for this year be Un Monde qui s'illumine or Ready for the Ride? And I feel like it's got to be Ready for the Ride, because it's such a bop. Like, it gets me so jazzed. I'm so excited every time I hear that song. Also, this year, something I need to do, and I'm going to Duolingo it up, is learn how to pronounce things in French. Like, it's so bad, because every time I'm saying things on camera, I'm so aware that I'm absolutely butchering the pronunciation. And I didn't do French at school, I did German. And with German, it's kind of phonetic, like how it's written is how you pronounce it. So I find it so hard that in French it's not. And I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce any of this. So that's something that's going to be a little like challenge for me this year, is try and learn to pronounce things in French correctly, so I don't keep butchering everything at Disneyland Paris. I was looking over the Christmas period I was like, Google Translate, like, how do you pronounce this? And I was like, I've not been pronouncing anything correctly. So that's something that needs to be worked on. So yes, to book the multiple hotels, Jill, what I did is I just booked it all myself. So I booked the Disney portion of my trip with Disney so that I could take the offer. I don't know how to say this. I could get the offer that they were offering at the time, where you bought the hotel and the tickets, and then you got the free dining credits and stuff like that. And then for Universal, I actually booked through booking.com. And then for Animal Kingdom Lodge, I booked directly through the American Disney World website, because to get the offer, you had to do that. Even though it was open to anyone around the world, you had to book via the US Disney website, which was very random. But I do think, even though it can feel like a faff because you're booking with different people, in some ways it gives you more control. The reason I booked Universal with Booking was because you paid a small deposit that was fully refundable up until the day before you went, and then you paid the rest when you were there. So if my plans did change, I could have not had to have paid anything out. I would have got a full refund of the deposit, and I really liked that. So I've never actually done split stays with a travel agent, although I have been to Disney itself via travel agents before. But I did like the kind of DIY plan it yourself element. But I would say that mostly came from the fact that post-pandemic, I wasn't feeling confident if my trips would go ahead. So I wanted to have full flexibility of being able to cancel things and get refunds. So that was primarily why I did it that way. I love that Peter has agreed that Ready for the Ride is the anthem of this year and the friendship can continue because of it. It's so true. Yes, Frankie, it's amazing, isn't it? You're like, I'm going to try French, I'm going to go for it. And they're like, we're just speaking English, it's easy. It's so true. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I so need to brush up on this because it's so embarrassing. Like asking for where something is. And they're just like, oh gosh, that's definitely not how you pronounce that. Yes, Mark. So yeah, it's so interesting when it comes to the vegan options at Disneyland Paris and looking for ones that aren't faux meat. So I definitely think that is something that will be good to do. I would say the downside is pre-2022, there were very, very few vegan options, but the ones that were there tended to be whole foods. In 2022, Disney World partnered with Beyond Meat. And because of that, they've now got lots more options at Disneyland Paris, but it does mean they all use Beyond products. So there is a lot of faux meat, faux fish, things like that. So it's a lot harder now, but I definitely will make a video about all of the options that aren't faux meat because there are still some available. So that will be a really good topic, I think. Michelle, my favourite vegan meal in Orlando. I have to say, I loved Tiffin's. That meal was absolutely incredible. Oh, I've lost my headband. It was so good. I had the Tinga tacos, which were delicious. They had so much flavor. And then it was a North African spiced tofu. And it was just so much food. But again, it was all like whole foods. There was no faux meat. Everything was delicious. All of the vegetables and everything was so fresh. And I just really liked Tiffin's. I just thought it was a restaurant. I didn't realise that it's also a art gallery. So I was so excited to go in there and see Joe Rohde's sketchbooks and all the artifacts the Imagineers had collected when they were building this park. And I was so lucky because my hostess was actually an art major. That's what she studied at university. So she had a passion for art as well. So she took me around all of the different rooms, explaining everything. So it was so much more than I was expecting. Somewhere else I really loved as well was Jungle Skipper's Navigation Canteen. The food there was outstanding. It's great to have a really good meal inside a park because sometimes the park meals aren't as good as the restaurants in the hotels. But that was one that was definitely amazing. And again, I just thought it's a Jungle Cruise themed restaurant, like the decor. I had no idea that all of the staff do the same sort of jokes. It was a hoot. So they were two of my absolute favourite places that I dined. Yes, Jill, it's a really good idea to do a villa and then maybe a few days on site at Universal because then you're getting the best of both worlds. So villas are really nice because you've got the pool, you've got all the space, you can cook there if you want, so you can save money on dining out. But then if you do a few days at Universal or Disney, being in the bubble and being so close and using the transportation is perfect. So you get like the best of both worlds. Oh, it's so exciting. I love, Robbie, that Ready for the Ride is the anthem for life. That is a fact. It's so uplifting, isn't it? It's just so exciting. And I am so glad. I think all of the new things that came for the 30th anniversary at Disneyland Paris were so amazing. Like the fact that they started using the drones in the night show was so impressive. And I'm so glad they extended it all until September this year because I was like, please don't make it go very quickly. So I can't wait to be able to experience it a few more times. And I'm just like, let's get back and get ready for the ride, guys. Also, is anyone else full-blown learning all the choreography? Because I'm basically ready to go. If for some reason one of the dancers comes out and they have a little fall, I can jump straight in. I could be in the parade. I know what I'm doing, guys. Yes, Lucy, definitely try Jungle Skipper if you can. It was so much fun. Yeah, Natalie, you're so right. With Universal, one of the best benefits about a deluxe resort there is that you get the express pass included. And if you are multiple people staying in a room, the room cost ends up being cheaper than what you would pay for the express pass. So it's such a brilliant perk and benefit. And that is something that I think Universal have the edge. Like those deluxe resorts, that benefit is perfect. So I hope you really, really get to enjoy that. Yes, yeah, I kind of agree, Robbie, that the Disneyland Paris 30th anniversary was better than the 50th anniversary. I don't know if the 50th anniversary was going to be much bigger, and then because of the pandemic, they scaled it back massively. But They definitely didn't feel, apart from seeing like the 50th logo and stuff, it didn't really feel like a lot of celebration was happening. I've since watched Enchantment since I've come home, and I did love the tribute to Walt and that, but whilst I was at Disney, I didn't see any of that because of all of the people and the arguing and the stress that was Enchantment. So I'm glad that they also did have that part, but that was totally lost on me. I didn't see any of that. So they didn't, if they didn't see like 50 everywhere in Disney World, I don't think you necessarily would have realised it was an anniversary year. Whereas Disneyland Paris, I think you're very aware of it being an anniversary. Although it makes me feel very old because I went to Disneyland Paris the year it opened, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going back for an anniversary. And you're like, oh no, I feel very, very old now. Oh, I love it, Jill. There's no, you are doing it perfectly. I feel like everyone that attempts dancing always looks good. If you are going out there and feeling your fantasy and having the best time, then that's what comes across. So I think we're going to have to do some sort of flash mob, aren't we? We're just going to have to go there. They're stopping Dream and Shine Brighter in September, and we're like, not for us, you're not. We're coming back. We're the new team. We're the new team of dancers that have turned up. See, Peter, you're already ready to go. This is good. I think we're already collecting a group of people, so I feel like we could just step in. If we'll just take like a little speaker, and we can just be Dream and Shine Brighter, which would be fantastic. Yes, I'm very excited to see what is going to happen this year because, as you say, it's not just the 30th anniversary celebrations now, it's also the 100 years of the Walt Disney Company. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do to celebrate that. And I love that there's all of these celebrations happening all at the same time. And like in just a few years, you're going to be having a big anniversary at Disneyland in California too. So it's been a great time at the moment for Disney. There's so many celebrations going on. And yeah, Natalie, that is, I have to say that firework experience was the least fun I've had at Disney. And it was just so, I don't know if it was stressful, but it was just, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe I've sat on a pavement for an hour and then didn't see anything, but not even didn't see anything, couldn't hear anything because so many people were arguing with each other or shouting at cast members. And it was the only time during the trip that I really noticed like rudeness amongst guests, but it was so shocking because it was everywhere. You couldn't escape it. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? The thing that was great is Epcot, it was completely different. And I think because the fireworks are around the lake, you've got so many places to stand and kind of everyone sat on the ground so everyone could see, and it was an entirely different experience. So I think next time at Disney World, I would try a dessert party because I definitely think that would be worthwhile because you're getting a viewing platform. You're not having to turn up hours and hours early. Hopefully there's no arguing and you're going to get a great view and desserts, which is fantastic. So, Peter, when I was in Magic Kingdom, I didn't notice any cleanliness issues or anywhere in Disney World, actually, and I didn't notice wear and tear. So it's interesting because, like you say, some people have been bringing it up. When I was there, I was really impressed. I was like, because again, I'd read it and I thought, oh gosh, what are we going to turn up to? And I didn't see anything that looked unkempt or dirty. So I was pretty impressed with that. So it is interesting you are seeing people now. I don't know if since September, maybe there has been a drop in standards. I know that obviously Disney World, because during the pandemic, they eventually stopped having any staff and they needed to rehire about 100,000 people. But of course, many of those people went on to other jobs already. So they have had a big difficulty in getting the number of staff back that they need. So I do think that there are a lot of departments that are understaffed. That's why if you stay at Disney World Resort, you won't get housekeeping every day. They just don't have enough staff at the moment. So I don't know if maybe that is starting to have an impact now, but when I was there, I definitely didn't notice it. Universal, however, I don't want this to become like a Universal hate channel because there were definitely great things at Universal, but there I definitely saw like walls where the paint was all coming off, like unclean things, tables that were really dirty. And it was a very stark difference because I think you spent 2 weeks in Disney where everything looked lovely. And then you were like, okay, this is what I was expecting Disney to be like. Luckily, I didn't experience it, but I was shocked. But then I've heard a lot of people at Universal say they haven't experienced that. So it's so hard to tell what's going on. Yeah, I agree, Lucy. I've always found Disney super clean, and you also see the maintenance staff and the custodial staff going around. Like you very much notice their presence, like you see them sweeping up and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that I've never found any issues. And like maintenance, like overnight the parks have just as many staff as during the day when there are guests there, because they are trimming the bushes and doing any repairs that are needed and stuff like that. And actually going on the Keys to the Kingdom tour was amazing to see that, because you got to go underneath Magic Kingdom and see all the different departments and like where they keep all the costumes and stuff like that. And it's amazing that Disney World is really a 24-hour resort. It's just that we're not there. But when we're not there, there are people stitching up costumes and like sweeping the floor. That like it's amazing how it's bustling even overnight. So yes, so at the moment, Jackie, I've got a few trips planned. So I'm going towards the end of this month back to Disneyland Paris, and then a few months after that, I'm going to be doing a group trip with friends to Disneyland Paris as well. And then I have a few trips that are bubbling away. They're not completely booked yet, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I would like to try and get to America. But there has been this issue that's been brought up where if you've ever traveled to Cuba, there's a possibility that you will not be allowed to use an Esther anymore. I've previously been to Cuba. Some websites say if you've traveled to Cuba since 2021. Other websites say it's if you've traveled since 2011. No. How did we used to say numbers before 2020? 2011. So depending on which one it is, might mean I wouldn't be able to use an ESTA. I'd have to get a visa. And to get a visa, it's about a 10-month wait for an appointment. And then I don't know how long the visa takes after that. So that could throw a big spanner in the works if it is from 2011. So yeah, we don't know what's happening with that at the moment. But I do have another thing as a backup if that doesn't happen. So we'll see how that all plans out. Oh, what's happening in 2024? I've missed a part of this. I am very excited for It's a Small World to come back. It feels like it's been shut forever, and it's like, oh my gosh, and I can't wait to see what it's going to be like, because with such a big renovation, you're like, oh, it's going to look super fresh, and what extra elements may there be? Something that I loved, that I learned on the Keys to the Kingdom tour, was that the dolls have to have a haircut. And I'm like, why? Why is their hair growing? They're dolls. That's really creepy. But apparently, because of the humidity in the ride, particularly in Orlando, because obviously you've got the humidity outside as well, because their hair is made of wool, I think it's wool, or whatever it's made of, it stretches because of the humidity. So someone's actual job is a hairdresser to all of the dolls in It's a Small World, which I think is a fantastic job role, but slightly creepy that their hair grows. I will never get over that. Yes, Michelle. So yes, I'm absolutely going to Berlin this year. That is all booked. So that will be in July. And is that something you would want to see in vlogs? Because obviously everything on my channel has been Disney so far, but would you like 1 or 2 vlogs of just what it's like in Berlin and what we get up to? Yeah, I've been to Berlin. It must have been 16 years ago or so. So I haven't been for a very long time, and I'm very, very excited to go. I'm going with one of my friends. We've done a lot of trips together. We've been to Disney before, and we're going to go see a band that we like. So I'm very excited. That should be a super, super fun trip. And yeah, I just love Berlin. It's so cosmopolitan and forward thinking, and just it's also got obviously a huge amount of history, so it's just such a really, really cool place. And also for me as a vegan, it's the second best city in the world for vegan food and restaurants, so I'm very excited for that too. So I'm like, all the wins. Yes, the hair is very creepy. I'm glad that other people find this creepy, and I never knew this was a job. Imagine if your whole job was to cut the hair. Like, what a really cool job that is. Like, no one would believe you. Or like, I just cut dolls' hair at Disney for a living. They'd be like, what? And it's like, that's an actual job, guys. But it's that freaked me out. I was like, why are they alive? Are they alive? Are they just, because now they're a little less charming, a little more freaky. So, but yeah, but it'd be interesting, won't it? Like going on the ride and then thinking that one needs a haircut, that one's hair's too long. It'll be great. Oh, it's great to hear that you'd like to see Berlin. I think it'll be super fun. Like, it's just something so different. And I love a little weekend trip somewhere in Europe. So I think it'll be so fun, and I love everything history, and I think it's going to be amazing. And we got a really good deal because I was like, if I can get something cheaper, then I'm going for it. When this band that we're going to see announced their tour, I thought, I am booking a hotel right now. And I did the same trick of booking one that you could cancel for free, so we wouldn't lose any money if we didn't go. Once the tickets then went on sale, the hotel prices went up like 4 times the price. And I'm like, we've got the good deal. So I'm very excited about that. Oh gosh, I'm losing my hair out. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of, especially like say, for example, I'm looking at hopefully going to Anaheim if the Cuban situation isn't a problem. Again, I've done the same thing, that I've booked a hotel where I don't have to pay anything until I get there, and I can cancel for free, so that if I can go, I've got something booked. But if I can't go, I'm not going to lose any money. So fingers crossed it won't be a problem. Hi, Paul. Paul is one of my friends. We spent last night together at New Year's. I'm not, my body, I don't know if this is just an age thing or if it's a me thing, but my body will get up the same time every day, regardless what I'm doing. So we had our nice celebration last night, and I went to bed probably about 2 a.m. Still got up at 6:30. So I'm surprisingly keeping it together, as I've had no sleep. It's so good. Oh, it's so exciting that you'd love to see Berlin. And also, like, something that I started doing solo travel around Europe before I started doing Disney solo trips. So if in the future I do any solo trips around Europe or other places and you'd like to see that is definitely something I could put on the channel. It's been so fun. I've done lots of little trips. I did one, actually. There was a great company where you told them how many days you wanted to go, what sort of city you'd like to visit, and then you didn't find out where you were going until you got to the airport. And that was super fun because you were just like, I don't know where I'm going. And luckily for me, I got sent to Valencia, and it was so nice. And yeah, it was great. You just opened an envelope at the airport. So it was very like dramatic, and you found out where you were going, where you were staying, and it was super fun. And so yeah, I love doing solo travel. So if you'd like to see more of that, that's definitely something I will make sure to do. It is such a cool job. I really like that at Disney, there's so many jobs that you would never ever think about. And it's only when you meet someone and they tell you what their job is, you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And something else I really enjoy is a lot of people tend to work at Disney maybe for a year because they're a college student, or you do the international exchange, or maybe you're retired and you just want to go there. But they kind of look at the person's background or expertise or things they enjoy and put them in that role. So like I said, at Tiffin's, the girl that was my host, she actually was an art major. So they put her in a location where she could use her background and her knowledge and then speak to people about the art in Tiffin's. And I just think that's so cool that whatever your background is, they will have something for you and they can tie it to a job at Disney. So Paul is a trained hairdresser, so maybe he can start becoming the hairdresser for the dolls in It's a Small World. That would be amazing. That would be fantastic. Oh, it's so exciting. I've completely gone off course because I'm just loving chatting, because my big announcement has not happened yet. So the big announcement is actually that this year I'm going to be launching a Patreon. And the thing that's really exciting about that is I've got loads of cool tiers. So each tier has different benefits. So it's stuff like planning templates that you can download so you can plan your own trip. They are stuff like Q&A sessions, live streams, even stuff like getting me to plan your itinerary for you. If that's something that's stumping you, then I can come in. We have a private consultation, phone call, tell me everything you want to do, and I can plan that out for you. So there's lots of different benefits and tiers. So I will put a link in the description, and then in my general bio on YouTube and places like that. So you can check that out if there is something you would like. What's really nice is most magical guides actually started out with these planning templates. So in 2022, I've spent probably 7 or 8 years with my own trips, like extensively planning and like so many spreadsheets, so many lists, so many charts. And I kind of fine-tuned of how I liked to put all my information and what I found most helpful. So in 2022, my regular day job, because of the pandemic, we all lost our jobs temporarily. And in that time period, I was like, what can I do to make money? So I started selling the templates on Etsy. The downside was, even though the templates themselves don't have like Disney imagery or stuff like that, because Disney World, even though it's a destination, is also a trademark, they were like, you can't say Disney World on Etsy. So then that kind of ended the templates. So I've had them for all this time simmering in the background. So it's so nice to finally be able to use them. And I just really liked having all of my information in one place. And I've got lots of different templates. So there's itinerary templates. There's one all about dining, packing lists. There's lots of different options. There's snack lists, which I think are very important. So yeah, I'm hoping that the benefits will be super fun. And then there's really interactive things like polls. There's going to be Patreon park days where you can kind of decide and vote on what you'd like me to do. So I think it should be super, super fun. It's just really interactive. And I like that there's the community on Patreon that not only are you being able to interact with people, also hopefully you'll be able to give back. So I really hope that the benefits are things you like. And yeah, there's lots of things. There's like gifts from the Disney parks. I've hopefully tried to make them super interesting. So yeah, do let me know what you think of them. And as I say, I'll put the links everywhere where you would normally find them, in the descriptions and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's going to be so fun. I'm really excited to move forward with that. And yeah, it's just like, oh, this seems like a good time to start it, because like I said, I can actually bring back the things that started out most magical guides and start incorporating them as well as other things. So that should be super fun. And I'm also going to be updating my website. My website was, again, something I started in 2020. And then once my day job came back and then I started my YouTube channel, it kind of fell to the wayside a bit. So I'm going to go back and still be updating the blog. I'm going to get back into writing that. And then hopefully that's a great place where if you want to be able to just read information of how to plan and tips and stuff, you'll be able to use that. I'm going to actually add a solo section to my website with all tips of how to visit solo and yeah, the best ways to do it, safety advice, stuff like that. My Disneyland Paris vegan page has all been updated. So that's all with the latest information, and the Disney World pages are changing slightly. So I did have free to download guides which had all of the vegan options available at Disney World. I'm going to stop doing them just because when I started it, because I wasn't working, I had the time to be going through the menus. There's like 400 restaurants, so I would go through like 400 menus every month and just check, have there been any changes, are there any updates, what's going on? And now it's just very difficult to go through all of them. But what I would say is I'm keeping the pages with the best options. So that way it's nice to be able to see all of the options at Disney World, but sometimes you want to just know where are the best places to eat. Like I could eat at that place and it's terrible. So where are the good places? So I'm going to keep those pages. So I've got one per park, which tells you all the best vegan options, and in the resorts as well. And then there are some really great channels. If you want the up-to-date information, I really love Princess and the Bear. They are a couple who live in Orlando. They regularly go to the Disney World restaurants and they review them, particularly if there's any menu changes, so you can get like the latest information. And what's really great is Princess is vegan and the Bear isn't. And if you're traveling with people and it's a mixed dietary group, they're perfect because you can find out all the information. And of course, there's Vegan Disney World and Vegan Disney Food, who also have updates. So yeah, I'm going to be keeping the best places to eat. But the guides where it was like, this is like, and literally they were like 70 pages long. It was unbelievable, which is great news for vegans because there's so much choice. But they are going to kind of take a back seat for a while and then just focus on the best things. So yeah, that is the very exciting news. Oh, let's have a little look. Oh, I'm very excited that everyone's very excited for Berlin, because it was one of those things I was like, oh, and like, would it fit? Would it be a weird thing? But it's really nice to hear that people would love to see that. And I'm very excited to go. Like, I loved it when I was there. It's also one of those things that, because I did German at school, I try and speak German there. But again, often people are just like, it's just easier, we just speak English, which is amazing. Oh, it's amazing, Natalie, that you have a friend that works at Disney World and they work in the Christmas decoration department, which is already fun. That's a whole department, not just a seasonal thing, it's a whole department. And they restore all the decorations from the parks. That's amazing. What a cool job that is, making everything super fresh and nice for all of the parks when they finally get their decorations up for Christmas. That's so nice. That is true, though. You would very quickly get bored of Christmas decorations. When you have to decorate your own house, you'd be like, forget about it. Absolutely not. Someone else is going to have to do this because I'll be doing this all year long. Oh, Jackie, it's so interesting to hear you're going to Efteling. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Have you been before? And yeah, that's something really cool. And I love that you can go there on the Eurostar as well. Like, you've got that option. Like, it's perfect. So it'd be really cool to kind of experience some other places in Europe. Yes, it's really great to hear Germany is fantastic for vegan food. And I've been so excited. Like, I've heard so many good things about Berlin, and it's nice to hear that everywhere in Germany is quite accommodating, and people say supermarkets are really good. So I'm sure I'll be bringing lots of things home. So I just can't wait. I'm very, very excited for this trip. I'm like, oh, and like I said, it's been such a long time that I'm sure it'll be really different. So I think that'll be fantastic. Yes, most magical guides on the road. That'll be fantastic. Hi, Becky. Yes, Becky got me this amazing dog pillow for Christmas. And this is my favourite part, guys. They even have the footstool from Beauty and the Beast that was a dog, was a footstool. And I was like, I am obsessed with this pillow. It is so cute. So thank you very much, Becky. It was a very nice present. Let's have a little look. Oh, I'm loving all the comments. Thank you so much for all being here. It's so, so lovely of you all. Oh, it's so exciting, Peter, that you have friends that are actually starting to work for Disney. It's amazing. To work on a Disney cruise line would be fantastic because you're getting to travel the world while still being all Disneyfied. Like, I think that's so exciting. So yes, I think as well, like, the idea of doing the cultural representative job in Epcot is so fantastic because you're getting to go to Disney, you're getting to work there. But also, my favourite part about Epcot is the fact that you have people from the countries working in those pavilions, and you can speak to them and they can tell you about like their food and culture and traditions and stuff. Like, when I went to, like, the Germany Pavilion is my absolute favourite. It's so pretty. I love everything about it. And when I went to Beer Garden, when I turned up, I was speaking to my hostess, and I felt really bad because I was speaking to her for about 45 minutes, and I was like, this poor woman, I hope she doesn't get in trouble because I've just been like chatting to her. But we were chatting loads because I was saying, oh, I'm going back to Berlin, and she had studied in Scotland. So we were having this massive chat, and it was so, so nice. And I absolutely love it because you can just find out so much about the countries. And I think that would be a really, really cool role to do. And I think any age can do it. So it's one of those things that if you are from abroad, you can work at Disney World regardless of your age because of this cultural representative program, which is perfect. Oh, it's so exciting. Yes, I'm hoping that the vegan blog post all about the food at Disneyland Paris is helpful. It's so much easier to maintain, and also because I go there more frequently, it's much easier to know what the updates have been and also review them. So I'm hoping that will be perfect and nice. It's also nice that I can add in my reviews. I am going to start adding reviews to my vegan Disney World page of the food that I had at Disney World, so I can let you know what I thought. The thing I have to say is this year, the food was so much better than it was when I visited in 2018. And I was so impressed because before it was fine, there was nothing wrong, but there were very few meals that like really stood out, and a lot of the food was kind of warm, not hot. And this time it was entirely different. And it got to a point where I was like, it's ridiculous in the vlog because every meal I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. I'm like, we're going to have some sort of ranking system because it can't just be everything is incredible. So I am going to do a video coming up all about which restaurants that I thought were the best, which ones had the best food, stuff like that. So it might be more helpful than just saying everything is incredible. But oh my gosh, there's a ghost. But it was so good, the food this time. And interestingly, I don't know if it's because like a lot of the vegan dishes are newer because they've only started doing vegan food the past couple of years, and particularly Disneyland Paris, it was only kind of this year they started doing vegan food, but the vegan options have been so good. And then I'll be like raving about a restaurant, and then I'll know someone who's been there who isn't vegan, and they're like, oh, actually it's not that good. So I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. So I think actually Paul and Becky, who are here, we are all going on this group trip. So it'll be really interesting to find their opinions out on the food in the restaurants that we're dining in, to see whether their experience is as good as mine, because I've been so impressed. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be giving people like bad information, but the vegan food I've been having has been really good. But I don't know if the rest of the food is good for everyone. Oh, it's so exciting, Charlotte. You got to meet Princess and the Bear. I absolutely love them. I love their kind of sense of humour. Their videos are so helpful and informative. And I think it's so good that most people, when they visit, will be visiting in groups with mixed dietary needs. So they give you all of the great information. And they have like, anytime there's an update to a menu, they're there. So you get really up-to-date information. So I absolutely love them. And it's so cool that you met them. I love that. That's so exciting. Yeah, I'm hoping that the templates will be super helpful. And like I say, that it's something that over years and years and years I've refined for my own trips of like what helps me. And you can just visually see everything where it needs to be. Particularly for me, the itinerary template was so helpful because I broke it down into the day and then like breakfast, morning, lunch, afternoon, dinner, evening. So if you were park hopping or doing different things, you could plan it all out. I keep all my reservation numbers in there. Like, it was just so handy. So I'm hoping those things are really helpful. Like packing lists, it's always so easy to forget things. So it's good to have one of, oh, that's what I need to take. Perfect. So that should be good. I haven't seen the 30th celebration of Beauty and the Beast. I'm hoping it's going to come on Disney Plus. I'm hoping, but I'm so excited to see it. It looks so good. Beauty and the Beast was always my favorite classic Disney film. I wasn't a massive fan of the new live action film, and then because of that I've kind of stayed away from Beauty and the Beast for a while. But going back and seeing the stage show in Hollywood Studios, I was like, I'm fully in. So I definitely need to see this celebration because it's going to be iconic. It's going to be so good, and the cast looked really good. What did you think? Was it good? Do we all need to be watching this? So yeah, a Disney cruise, Christina, is something I've thought about doing. The only reason I haven't done one is because I get seasick, and I'm really scared of being seasick. And because also I have a massive phobia of being sick. And I know that's silly because nobody likes being sick, but like to me, it's like the worst thing that could possibly happen. So the idea of being on a boat with motion sickness and you can't get away and you're just going to have to ride it out terrifies me. And I do know now that cruise ships are made to kind of reduce that massively, so hopefully it wouldn't be an issue. So it is something I would like to do. My grandparents loved cruising. They've done a lot of cruises. They're really good for giving like tips and advice. And actually, when I was in Disney World, I was at GECO, and I was really lucky because oftentimes if you are a solo traveler, where you get seated in a restaurant, sometimes it could be like, oh, we're just going to sit you at the bar and stuff like that. And it's not such a problem. But I ended up getting some amazing tables. And at GECO, I was sat at the chef's table. So the whole evening I was chatting to the chef, which is perfect because you were solo, you had company. And then a few other people joined, so you were chatting to them. But the chef was a massive Disney cruise fan. And she was saying, if you have motion sickness or seasickness, to go from Miami, if you're going to do a Disney World and a cruise at the same time, because the water is a lot stiller leaving from Miami than Cape Canaveral. Port Canaveral? Cape Canaveral's the spaceships. Is that right? But no, maybe we could do a space adventure from Disney. That would be amazing. But so it's really handy to have any tips. So if you have ever been on a Disney cruise and you have any tips and advice, that would be perfect because they do look so much fun. And literally, if I watch any vlogs, when you hear the little horn go beep, 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 I'm like, I'm going to cry. I'm crying watching it. There's no way I would cope in real life. It's so nice. Oh, yeah, I'm hoping we can watch this celebration on Disney Plus. I'm like, please bring it to us. We want to join in. We want to join in. Yeah, I'm very excited for our group trip. I think it's going to be so much fun. And like, I think it's also going to be a really great vlog series to see what 6 adults do in Disney. And like I say, I'm a big fan of like, I honestly think the Disney parks benefit adults almost more than they benefit kids, because you go away with such a sense of joyfulness and inspiration and hopefulness and optimism. And I think particularly in the world we're currently living in, it's so easy to get dragged down and, you know, in all the details and like, oh, it's a bit unjoyful. And then you go to Disney, you come out and you're like a new person. And I think that's why it's such a great place for adults. So to see what 6 adults get up to, and I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so much fun. It's such a fun group of people. So it's going to be super, super good. I can't wait. Oh, Peter, you have seen this. Where have you seen this Beauty and the Beast special? You need to let us know what's happening. So I'm going to put the Patreon link, Paul, in the description down below. But also, if you just type Patreon Most Magical Guides into Google, it will come up. Annoyingly, at the moment, my URL isn't like patreon.com/Most Magical Guides. It's a random jangle of numbers and letters. So I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I will definitely put it in the description box. I'll put it in my About section on YouTube. I'll do a link on my Instagram page. And again, if you just type Patreon Most Magical Guides, it will come up. So that'll be perfect. Oh my God, Peter. Now, you have to know that Paul and myself do love Jane McDonald. So the idea of me being some sort of Jane McDonald figure on a Disney cruise would be iconic. That would be absolutely incredible. In fact, we were watching Jane McDonald last night. So it's so much fun. Love Jane. Did you see her series when she went to Florida and she did a little trip to Disney and she got so excited to meet Mickey? And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, people think, oh, if you go to Disney, it's like kids, blah, blah, blah. But actually, as an adult, even if you have no interest, you fully get into it. Like, it really is magical. So I loved seeing her like, oh, it's Mickey Mouse. It was so good. Oh my gosh, Peter, maybe what we need to start doing is a Jane moment at the end of the vlogs where we're like lip syncing to a song. That is always my favorite part of the Jane programs. If you haven't seen Jane McDonald, she was a lady who became really famous from a reality show where they filmed people who worked on cruise lines. So she was a singer, and then she's had like a massive career since, but she's just so much fun, so down to earth. And she does these travel shows where she does cruises around the world, but they always end with her singing a song with these really amazingly shot, like almost a bit cheesy but very fun music videos from the stuff she's done during the episode, and it's iconic. So we all love Jane. Something that I think that the Disney parks should be doing is so many of their rides and attractions have like iconic things that are said, like the wildest ride in the wilderness, all of these things. Why aren't we doing like lip sync battles to things that are said in Disney parks? Maybe we need to make this like a TikTok thing. TikTok is also something that I'm going to try and work on this year. Peter has been really trying to encourage me to do it. Paul and Becky, like, you could do this. I don't know how to use it, guys. I'm old. I'm an old person. It's lost on me, but I'm going to try and figure it out because it looks super fun. Peter has an amazing TikTok page. And I'm like, oh, it all looks so good and so fun. So maybe we should start doing TikToks of like lip syncing to things when we're at Disney, like Haunted Mansion, iconic, when you're in the stretching room, although that's going to be pitch black. So maybe we can't do that. But I don't know why we aren't doing that because it's so good. I love that everyone loves Jane. And yeah, TikTok, it's just so much fun. And I've been watching it recently because it's not even something I've really used because just old. I just didn't really know how to use it. But I've started watching a lot of dogs and I've very much enjoyed that. But it is really fun. I really like that there's just a lot you can do with it. And the videos can be informative or they can be funny or inspirational. There's any kind of loads of avenues you can go down. So definitely need to get on top of this. Yes, I would love to see the Grinch at Universal. I think the Grinch is a hoot. And I think that's such a fun meet and greet. But also you can do the Grinch breakfast, which sounds really fun at Universal. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to go to Halloween Horror Nights because of Hurricane Ian. He arrived the day I was meant to go. But I also would be terrified the entire time I was there. So I'm like, maybe he did me a favor because he was like, it's really funny coming up. There's going to be a vlog where I've moved to the hotel. And the thing that was cool about Cabana Bay is they had this photo spot for Halloween Horror Nights. And literally, it was like cardboard sets where you could take a selfie with a set. But because it was dark and had creepy music, I was terrified. And I was like, you're scared of cardboard. How are you going to cope in an actual haunted house with actors jumping out at you? So maybe it was a good thing I didn't get to go to Halloween Horror Nights. Oh, that would be so good. Yes, there's all of the, like, the beginning of the parades, learning them that we can lip sync to. I don't know why this has to become a thing, right? This surely is a thing. Like, everyone loves saying the catchphrases that you hear on the rides. So it has to become a TikTok craze, right? But yeah, I absolutely love, I don't know, I just think Disney has so much to offer everyone. And there's just so much you can do there. And that's what I like, is that every trip can be a really different experience. And that's either because you're going to do things differently, stay different places, or visit with different people. And it doesn't get boring because of that. Because every time you go, you're like, oh, this is completely a different way of doing this. And that's something I enjoy so much. This Disney World trip was completely different to any of other trips I'd done. And it was honestly absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe, it's one of those things you're like, well, I know Disney's amazing. It's that level. And then I was like, oh no, it's gone up a level. How are we going? How many more levels are there? How more amazing can this get? And yeah, it was just so incredible. And yeah, I think that's the great thing about Disneyland Paris as well, is that, like, when I went in May, it was a very different trip because I didn't do many rides because of the queues being quite long, but I did loads of the shows. I went to the bars, like loads of things that I don't always do. And it was so fun to go and see all of that. And I was like, we've been missing out on all these things. Like, we need to go and do more of that. So yeah, absolutely love it. Oh my gosh, Natalie. I love The Walking Dead. So the idea of a Walking Dead May sounds incredible, but also absolutely terrifying. So I can absolutely imagine how frightening it is. And yeah, I'm just like, I don't think I would cope. And especially because I was going on my own. I think if I was in a group, I wouldn't be as frightened. But on your own, there's no way I would cope. And I don't know why this year, well, not this year, because we've only been here for 11 hours, but last year, I don't know why I thought I was a brave person. Don't like it. I won't like it. What am I doing? But yes, I absolutely want to go to the Japanese parks. Like Tokyo, especially Disney Sea, I think looks like the best Disney park in the world. I'm desperate to get out there. It just looks so incredible. Again, I love that they have loads of hotels. They've got the new Toy Story hotel, which looks absolutely incredible. And Disney Sea is just so unlike anything else we've seen. And everyone I know has said it's been incredible. In fact, Becky went there during her honeymoon and is always saying, like, it's absolutely incredible. Definitely want to get out there. The only thing that worries me about going to Tokyo is I know that they don't have very many vegan options in the park themselves. If you're going to Tokyo itself, there's loads of vegan restaurants you can go and enjoy. In the parks, there's not as much food. So you do worry, like, oh, what will you be able to eat? But I think if you do as we've probably learned, I do so much research before trips. Like, it becomes like a full-time job. So I'm sure there'll be things to find, but it just looks like the best park. I would love to also go to Shanghai and Hong Kong. I'd love to be able to experience all of them. And I love that even though there are similar rides, they're all slightly different. And it's great at Disney that you have the familiarity, but also it's a completely unique experience at the same time, which I think is so geniusly done. Yeah, I've seen lots of people going on the Disney Wish and posting about it. It does look so nice. I would absolutely love to do a cruise. And it's one of those areas that I don't know much about because, like I say, where I have seasickness, I've just avoided cruises. I did one when I was a child. We just did like a little 3-day trip to Ireland. And back then I didn't get motion sick, but I do remember overnight feeling sick. And I was like, that doesn't bode well. If, like, when I didn't get motion sick, I still felt sick. But I know, I mean, that would have been like nearly 30 years ago. So I'm sure technology has advanced a lot. But because of that, I don't know a lot about the differences of the ships, like which one's the best to go on, like stuff like that. So it would be really helpful if anyone has any tips or advice about Disney cruises to find out, because they are an area I don't know much about, but I would like to do one. I really want to go to Castaway Cay. I think it looks so nice there, and to be on like a private island owned by Disney is incredible. When I was speaking to the chef, I think she was saying Disney have bought a second private island, so at the future, at some point, that should be available. That would be amazing. So if you have been on a cruise, do let me know, because they look so cool. They're so much fun. Yes, it's so true. I don't think, because Shanghai, I don't know if the park has reopened, because it seems to open for a little while and then shut again. So it's very difficult, isn't it? You just don't know when Shanghai will be able to operate as it used to. So yeah, it's very difficult to know. I know in 2024, so next year, that I think that there's a, no, what am I talking about? I was thinking there was something big happening in Japan. I was thinking, oh, is that a good time to visit or a bad time to visit? But maybe I'm thinking of the Olympics, and that's already happened, so it can't be that. We're not having the Olympics again. But like, there was some reason I was thinking in 2024 there was something happening in Tokyo, but maybe there isn't. But yes, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? That depending on what's happening in a city, like obviously it's Paris, isn't it? Next year, Paris is having the Olympics. Is it? I think it's next year. But like, so is that a good time to visit or a bad time to visit? It's good because if you want to visit the Olympics as well, you've got that option. But of course, it's going to be super busy. Prices all go up, super expensive. So it's all of those things you have to factor in, isn't it, when you're booking? Like, are there school holidays? Are there public holidays? Obviously, we have different days off in the UK for bank holidays than they do in France or America. So all of those things to factor in. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Oh, I'm so excited, Peter, that you're going to go get the Big Thunder ears. The Shop Disney sale has been amazing. For if you were looking at any like really cool ears, they have all of the Mickey Mouse main attraction ears for like either $6.99 or $8.99, and they're beautiful. So lots of great offers there, which is very exciting. I think this is a really good time of year to get stuff like that. If you have a Disney trip coming up, you can get all of those things online a lot cheaper than they would be in the parks. So that's a really good idea. Yes, it's going to be very exciting. I've always loved seeing the Olympics, so it's going to be amazing that it's in Paris. I loved it. I was actually a dancer in the opening ceremony of London 2012, so like the Olympics always has like a special place in my heart. But I love seeing all the different, I'm not a sport person, but I will always watch the Olympics. It's weird, isn't it? Maybe because it's only a once every 4-year commitment. And I'm like, okay, I can do a deep dive for a few weeks every couple of years, and then I have to give up. But I love that I don't know anything about the sports, but I become very passionate about, why did you do that? That was stupid. And literally know nothing about it. Oh. I was so interested to say that when you went to Disney Sea, there wasn't lots of vegan options. Like you say, it's a really good idea to take a lot of snacks. That's really cool. Yeah, and this is the thing. Tokyo, the food is literally incredible, isn't it? Like everything's themed. Like I saw there was some sort of like burger that's like Mickey's glove, and like you said, there's like super unique popcorn flavors. I think it sounds really fun. So hopefully over the years they will have maybe more vegan, vegetarian options, and that'd be super handy. Oh, okay. Yeah, the marathon. That'll be interesting. And again, it's one of those things, like it's a cool thing to see, but does it make things really expensive? So it's all of those things to weigh up. But yeah, I think Tokyo just looks absolutely incredible. And Disney Sea looks like the best Disney park. It's unbelievable. But yeah, again, I just love that all of the parks have a familiar feeling, but they're also unique, that they're absolutely worth visiting, all of them. I would also love to go to Aulani. Like, Hawaii looks like a dream anyway, but to also have a little Disney resort, it looks so, so nice. But it's unbelievably expensive if you're traveling from Europe. Oh, that's so good. Yes, I've seen some PC dev videos before, so it's really good to know that his cruise ones are top notch. That'll be so, so handy. Because yeah, this is an area that I don't know much about, just because I've never been a big cruise person, just because of the motion sickness. But it's one of those things, you might just have to dose yourself up on medicine and hopefully you'll be okay. I have actually been looking at, you can get these bracelets now that they kind of give you like a little electric shock, but they're supposed to be really good for motion sickness. So people have started using them in the parks, and it is something I've been looking at buying, but they cost about £100. So I'm like, if it works, it would absolutely be worth the cost. If it doesn't work, it's quite an expensive experiment. So I'm weighing it up. Yes, it's so interesting. Like you say, because the Olympics is coming in 2024, will the expansion with the Frozen Land and everything that's happening in Walt Disney Studios Park be completed by then? I think that's probably one of the reasons why Disney Village is currently undergoing this big transformation. And I think that will be completed in 2024. So that will be interesting. But I really hope it'll be amazing if Frozen Land was open by then, because how exciting would that be? And it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do. Originally, they were going to do like a little Galaxy's Edge. That's kind of disappeared. We haven't heard about that. So it looks like that's been shelved. But we'll be interested to see what will happen with Walt Disney Studios Park. It definitely has a lot of ability to expand and grow. And at the moment, I haven't been since Avengers Campus has opened. So I'm very excited to go and experience that. And I think it was so needed because the park was just so small. So I think it will be so exciting to see the expansion and just the park getting more and more exciting. Yes, I do love the Tim Tracker. I've been watching him for about 7 years, and I love seeing their trips, and it's so handy. Like, I got so much information for my trips to Florida from him. I also love paging Mr. Morrow. I watch a lot of him. Like, he's just so much fun. Like, Nate just looks like so much fun to visit the parks with. So I really like having the locals, because where they can go regularly, they can give you the most up-to-date information about any changes or what's happening seasonally. So it's like really handy for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, for example, because I was going towards the end of September. Those vloggers go at the beginning, so you can get the tips and the tricks, which is so, so handy. And yeah, locals just get a different experience, don't they? If you go all the time, you can... something I liked is this time I felt like I kind of had a local experience in a sense of that. Whenever I've been before, I've just been like, ride, and like rushing, and missing everything. And this time with my foot, where I was just not able to do that, I was having to take things a lot slower, like sit down, take a lot more breaks. And because of that, you experience the parks in a completely different way. And I wasn't like obsessed with, I've got to get every single ride in today. And when the locals visit, it tends to be that it's more like, oh, we'll just go for a dinner and see if we can go on Space Mountain or something. And it completely changed my trip. It was so nice to do it that way. So I think they have a really unique insight. Oh no. An $8 muffin is wild, isn't it? Yeah, some of the prices can be insane. And you just think, oh gosh. And if it's something you really want to try, you're like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to bite the bullet and go for it. But sometimes you're like, this is outrageous. It's like in Galaxy's Edge, the bottles of Coke that are really cool. Like, I love that they're unique to Galaxy's Edge. But they are $6 for a bottle of Coke. And then the downside is, when I went through the scanners, because of the shape of them at the airport, they were like, we've got to check your bags. And I was like, oh no, it does look like a weapon. So you do have to be careful of that. But yeah, some things you're like, this is crazy. And I've got this Coke bottle now that I'm just keeping as a souvenir. And it's like, what who thought that would be a thing? The Coke bottle will become a souvenir, but it's so cool. It did look so cool. Yes, paging Mr. Morrow is so positive and uplifting, isn't he? He's so nice. So absolutely love him. He's so, so lovely. Yeah, and that's the downside, isn't it? Aulani is just so, so expensive, and it looks beautiful, like super, super stunning. And it's one of those things that, looking at maybe if you can get offers on US Disney websites or stuff. So maybe if you did a trip to California, you were visiting Disney there, if you could get an offer when you were booking via a US website rather than a UK website, because obviously they're factoring in like the cost to get there. But if you could book something where, you know, from California you're flying and it's cheaper to fly, maybe it would be a bit cheaper. I don't know. So that's something to look into. But it looks very, very beautiful. But no, it's been so much fun. I'm very much enjoying this live stream. If you do like this, do let me know. And we will definitely do more in the future. I've very much enjoyed chatting to everyone. It's been so fun. And it's been so fun also telling all the updates. It's very exciting that there's more trips this year, which I can't wait for, which means more vlogs. The planning videos, as I say, still going to keep the long ones, but also add in some short ones, and we'll see if we like that. That should be super handy, and I think it would just be really fun to try out. It's not something I've delved into, so I think that would be really, really fun. The Patreon is going to be really exciting. So hopefully there's lots of things that can help you plan your own trips and then just be really interactive and fun. The website's being updated. Hopefully that will have lots of new information and be really helpful. And that's the sort of thing that if there is any direction you think that could go in or information you'd like to see, it's super handy to know, because with the website, I'm kind of like, oh, when I first started it, I was like, I wanted it to be a place where I could give information about planning, and then the other part of the website would be selling the templates. And then obviously the templates kind of took a little backseat. So then I kind of didn't know what to do with the website for a very long time. So yeah, if there's anything you would like to see, or if you, when you're looking up Disney trips, you're like, I can't find that information, do let me know and we can make sure we get that sorted. And yeah, I'm just very excited for what the year is going to have coming up. Like, I do like when you get to a new year, because you're like, even though it's just a date change, it does feel like there's a whole new world of possibility out there, and what does the future hold, and you know you can go out there and grab new things. So I'm very, very excited. I just want to say a massive thank you as well for everything that's happened this year, not this year, last year. Like, it's unbelievable to me how much the channel has grown in a year. But the thing that's been the most amazing for me is meeting so many new friends. I love all of the little comments that we have and the chats and discussions, and this is what's been so nice about the live stream, is to like talk in real time and catch up. So that has been so amazing. And that was something that I didn't even consider about YouTube. And you forget that, of course, there is a community. It's not just you go on YouTube and watch videos. You do also comment and engage with people. And that has been so amazing. So I'm absolutely loving that. So I cannot wait for more of that in the future. But yeah, thank you so much for your support. I can't believe that we hit the 1,000 subscribers. That was wild, because I was just like, when I did my Disney trip in March, I didn't even have 100 subscribers. So in the space of 6-7 months to have 1,000 was absolutely incredible, and it has been so nice. So thank you all for all your support and likes and comments. It has been fabulous. And also to everyone that I've met, it's been so fun bumping into people in the parks and chatting, meeting up with people like Peter, and then becoming friends on Instagram, messaging everyone. So that's been my favorite thing. It's just like when you find your tribe, you're like, oh my God, this is it. It's so exciting. So thank you for being my tribe, and this community has been so nice. So I've absolutely been loving that. So let's hope more of that happens in the future. And if we are in the parks at the same time, do let me know. I always love to come and say hello. So yeah, it's very fun to kind of meet people that you've been talking to, and then suddenly you're face to face, and you're in Disney, and it's the best time ever. It's so good. Oh, thank you so much, Natalie. It's so nice. I love Adam Hatton too. Like, again, super upbeat and positive. And it's so lovely that even though you're not living in the UK, it's so fun to kind of watch and see what people are doing, what we're up to, what we're all thinking. So thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Oh my God, I've got a notification. Okay, we're okay. Oh, thank you so much, Marta. That's so sweet. Like, it's been so nice meeting you and chatting. I love that, as you know, like, I have a big love for Finland. So it's been so nice to have a little pal over in Finland. I can't wait for your trip. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to see what that is like. I get so excited when everyone's going, because I'm like, what are they going to experience, what they're going to have, what the memories going to be made. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, when people are like, oh, I'm going to wherever on holiday, you're like, oh, that's fun, I want to know what to do there. But when someone's going to Disney, it's like you vicariously live through them, and it's just as exciting. So I absolutely love that. Hi, Joby. So unfortunately, at the moment, I haven't been to any of the Asian parks, but that is something that is high up on my list to do. Like, Tokyo looks incredible. I think Shanghai looks really amazing. And I really love that Hong Kong is such a small little cute park, and that makes it really unique. But I think it's just so fun to be able to go and the fact that you're like in Hong Kong, we can go to Disney, and you're still having an amazing trip in Hong Kong at the same time. I think it looks amazing. So, and it's very frustrating. I've actually been to Hong Kong before, but whilst we were there, we just didn't have time to go to Disney. So I think it's a perfect reason to be going back, because you get to visit Hong Kong again and go to Disney. So I can't wait. That is definitely in the future things that I want to do. And they just look so incredible and so unique, but still familiar, which I think is so good. So I think the longest flight I have been on, I went to Australia when I was 20, but what we did is on the way there, we stopped in Tokyo, and on the way back, we stopped in Hong Kong. So those flights would have been the longest flights I'd been on. I would say with jet lag, I think going forward in time is always harder. So, like, when I go from here to Disney World, it's easier to force yourself to stay up late than it is to when you come back and you're like going to sleep but waking up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, oh no, I've missed the whole day. But I do think when I go to Florida, what I try to do is stay up late the first night and kind of get into that time. And that does seem to help you. The annoying thing is waking up super early, but I'm like, if I'm not going back to sleep, I'll just get up, unpack, do whatever it is to keep myself busy, and then head to the parks. There were like 2 days where I did have a little nap, but that might be because I'm old, because sometimes I have to have a nap here. So that might not be a jet lag thing, that might be an old lady problem. But I definitely think going to Florida or places like that, trying to get in the time zone as soon as possible really helps. When I come back or travel, I was going to say into the future, but you know what I mean, like in time zones that are ahead of you, I think, again, it's kind of setting alarms and trying to get into that the time zone as soon as possible. It's definitely much harder going forward. And I think it probably took me about a week when I came back from Disney World to get back into UK time. But I was just like, we're just going to have to push through. Like, as I say, I normally get up about 6:30 in the morning. So I would allow myself to get up a bit later. So maybe like 8 o'clock in the morning, because I knew I'd be going to bed super late. But I would always try and set that alarm so I was getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, jet lag is the one thing that is really hard. Like, it's the downside. But I would say in Disney World, it's totally at your advantage as well, because you are up, you are ready to go. And then you're at the parks for park opening. A lot of the American people visiting may be, you know, you're on holiday, don't want to get up at the crack of dawn. So they tend to get them later in the day. So you have much shorter queue time. So I actually think in Disney World, jet lag can be your advantage. So I kind of like it for that. Oh, the video of me. Oh, Natalie, the video of me when I think I was 6 there at Disneyland. It was so cute to find. I had an old VHS and I managed to send it somewhere to get them to put it onto a USB stick. And it was so fun watching about. I actually had about an hour's worth of footage. So I'll have to make like other little short clips. And it's really fun seeing the parks, how they were. Like, I'd completely forgotten that Magic Kingdom used to have the like cable car system. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, they did. And that was so fun to see. So there's some great footage of me dancing down Main Street. So it's just really fun to see it. So I would definitely have to make more little clips of that, because it was so fun to watch back. And I had some footage as well at Universal. And there's a really funny moment where they used to have like Marilyn Monroe and Charlie Chaplin and people walk around Universal. And I was trying to meet Marilyn Monroe. It was either Marilyn, yeah, I think it was Marilyn Monroe, because I was queuing and I was the next in the queue. And then every time I'd go to walk forward, an adult man would push past because he wanted to meet Marilyn Monroe first. And it's really funny footage. He's like, forget the kid. I'm meeting Marilyn. It was great. Oh, that's so lovely to hear, Jack. I'm so glad that you're getting to visit now places that have been on your bucket list for years. That is so exciting. What are these places? I want to know. This sounds very exciting. But yeah, it's so nice to kind of have connections with people that are very similar, and we have similar interests, and we all inspire each other. And I love hearing all of your trips, what you like to do, and all of the tips you have as well. So I can't wait to hear about all of these adventures, Jackie, because it sounds amazing. Yes, I am a big fan of a nap. I'm totally with you. Like, they are the way forward. And I think sometimes, like, you just have to accept that the nap is what is needed, and then you feel so much better afterwards. So I think we need to, as a society, we need to start accepting naps as adults, because they are the win. I found actually this Christmas period really a lot of naps happening. And I don't know if it's that thing of when you're working and doing all of this stuff, you're just powering through. And then when you have time off, your body goes, I'm shutting down. Because it's either I have to have an afternoon nap or at 8 o'clock I'm asleep. So it's a nightmare. It's one or the other. It's so, so good. But no, the other thing that I'm going to be doing is doing a lot more articles. So I do articles at the moment, like a freelance as a writer, all about planning Disney trips, vegan food at Disney, or the history of the parks. And that's been so much fun. Like, I've always enjoyed writing. And I think that like factual, like article type writing is what suits me best. So to be able to combine that with Disney, I was like, this is perfect. So I've been doing a lot of work on Fiverr and then also freelancing. So I'm trying to expand that this year. I'll be doing work with a lot of different websites. So it'll be cool to kind of expand that, or maybe look at different brands, stuff like that might want blog posts or little articles about like vegan food at Disney or something like that. So I'm very excited for that as well, because it's nice to be able to combine things that you enjoy into one. So and that feels like a very Disney way. Like I was saying earlier, they kind of, whatever your experience or background is, when Disney seem to hire people, they kind of encourage that or try and link those two things up, which I think is really cool. So it seems to make sense. If you like writing, you like Disney, write about Disney. So that should be super fun as well. And yeah, like I said, I'll put everything in like the description and links so you can find everything easily and know all of the things that are being updated. And I might write a blog post that's got all of the updates in it so that people can see everything in one place, and then put links to that as well. Oh no, it's been so much fun. I absolutely love this live video. Like, I feel like this is something we need to do more often, because it's been so much fun to chat to everyone and hear all about what you're doing, your plans. And yeah, like I say, I love living vicariously through people going to Disney. So I can't wait for all of your trips as well. Oh, thank you so much, Paul, Pam, and James. I hope you are having a lovely start to the new year. Thank you so much for watching as well. And yeah, have you got any plans? Has anyone got just general life plans that they're planning this year? I think that's the thing, isn't it? It just feels like a new leaf when you turn into a new year. So I'm very excited to see what may happen and yeah, like just what's coming up. So if anyone has any other life plans coming up, do let me know, because it's always very exciting, isn't it? I'm like, Disney's always very exciting, but anything people are branching out and doing, and especially if it's something they've always wanted to try, always awesome. Absolutely love it. But I can't believe we've been here for almost 2 hours already. This is wild. This is very exciting, but I've absolutely loved it. But yeah, like I say, if you are enjoying these live streams, do let me know and we can absolutely do more of them. I think they're really, really fun. It's great to be able to talk directly to you in real time and find out everything that's going on and answer questions, stuff like that. So if that is something you enjoy, do let me know. And yeah, but I suppose I should let you all go. It's coming up to lunchtime, Sunday lunch. Are you having a roast? This time of year, nothing makes sense, does it? Because you've had like the big Christmas dinner and then you've had like the picky bits, and then you're like, oh, New Year's, we'll go out and we'll do something, maybe. And you're like, so do we do the Sunday roast? Do we not do the Sunday roast? What day of the week is it? What's happening? Nobody knows at this point what's going on. So yeah, I hope you are all having, oh, it's very exciting. Orlando in May and then Las Vegas in October will be incredible. That is going to be so, so fun. And I've been to Las Vegas before. I really enjoyed it. When I was there last time, I did a trip where we went to Las Vegas and then Los Angeles and then Disneyland. So that was a really nice trip. And in Las Vegas, I saw Britney Spears. So that was really, really fun. And yeah, it's just like, it's like an adult playground. Like, it's so much fun. So yeah, at the moment, I haven't done any videos about like the history of the park. So if that's something you'd like as well, do let me know, because I've kind of been focusing on planning videos or vlogs. But if you would like videos, kind of like interesting facts about the parks or history, then that would be cool. The articles I've written tend to be for other websites, but I will definitely do some for my blog as well. I can't remember what ones. I think the ones I've done for Disneyland Paris so far have been more about planning, whereas Disney World, I've done like articles all about the railroad and Walt Disney's love of trains, which at first I was like, oh, this will be an interesting topic. And I got so into it to the point where now that the railroad is now open again, which is so exciting, I think on my next trip to Disney World, you can actually do a trip where you go behind the scenes and do a tour, all to do with the steam trains at Magic Kingdom. And since writing that article, I'm like, I'm big into this. It's so fascinating. It's so interesting. So I definitely need to do more of that. But if you would like to see videos about the history of the parks or just interesting weird tidbits and stuff like that, do let me know. Paul did not know this. We've known each other all this time. You didn't know I saw Brittany in Vegas. Yes. It was very fun. It was my 30th birthday year. I love the way that I basically am like, I'm Disney. I don't have a 30th birthday. I have a 30th birthday year. So, but because my birthday's in January, we were like, well, let's go when the weather's nicer. And yeah, Britney Spears was there at the time doing her residency, and it was such a good show. And what's nice about residency is that the staging, they can have stuff that you just couldn't do during a touring production. So it was so fun, so iconic. And yeah, it was so good. So good. So at the moment, I don't have any plans to return to Florida this year, mostly because of the cost. So the trip in 2022 was more than double what it was when I originally booked it in 2020. So because it was significantly more, I've had to I'll have to save up before I can get back there. And also this visa issue to do with if you've been to Cuba, you might not be able to go to America on an ESTA anymore. So I need more information about that. It's very difficult though, because I was looking up yesterday, like border control, US embassy, stuff like that. Some of the websites don't mention anything at all. There are certain countries that you have to get the visa for, and they mention them, but Cuba wasn't one of them. On the French US embassy, they mention it's from 2021. If you've visited Cuba since 2021, you need the visa. The US press have said it's since 2011. So I don't really know. I don't know if you can use the ESTA. Although, interestingly, I had an ESTA for my trip in 2022. It wasn't one of the questions when I applied for the ESTA. They didn't ask me about it at border control. So it was okay then. I don't know if the rules have changed since, what's happening. So that's something I need to dive more into. But I'm hoping that it's not a case that if you've ever been to Cuba, you have to now get a visa, because as I say, it's about a 10-month wait for an interview, and then I don't know how long between the interview and getting the visa is. So you'd have to plan like a year or so in advance just to get the visa before you could even book the trip. So it's very stressful. But it's so interesting, Natalie, you did a VIP tour in Magic Kingdom. That would be amazing. They look so, so good. And I recently actually saw a video as well of Sam for God. She did a VIP tour in Disneyland Paris. And that looked amazing. Like, you got to go to both of the parks, go straight to the front of the queue. And like you say, just learn so much as well. And I think they're really good. And if you split them between many people, they can be more affordable than you would imagine, even though obviously they're still expensive. I think they're just so much fun, and the benefits you get are massive, like skipping the queue, seeing the backstage areas. I think that's so exciting. Personal guide, like so fun. What was your favorite part? Would you totally recommend getting a VIP because it looks so good? I actually think being a plaid, one of the guides, would be such a fun job at Disney. Just like taking everyone, giving them their best day ever at Disney. It looks so fun. So yes, my ESTA was for 2 years. So the annoying thing is once I returned from Florida, I had to renew my passport. So the ESTA I had wouldn't work now because I've got a new passport, but I think I had still about a year on it, maybe a bit longer. So yeah, it was a 2-year ESTA, which was good. Yes, it's so true. The history of the parks are so, so interesting. And there's so many things that you just don't consider or would just never know unless you were told. And yeah, I just think it's like so amazing. And I think Walt Disney as a person is so inspirational, because that idea of, you know, someone who started off animating and he drew a mouse, and then from that he created like an empire, not just of films, but of theme park, completely revolutionized theme parks. Because before it was more like carnival type things and just kids going on rides. The fact that he completely revolutionized that. And then of course Disney now is so far reaching, like there's merchandise, hotels, it's like everything. So yeah, I think it's so interesting as the company to, and like just weird little things. Like when I was in Epcot and I was speaking to everyone, and everyone talks about Schöfferhofer, the beer, and I've seen so many vloggers talk about it. And although I don't drink, I was like, I'm going to try it. I don't like beer, I don't like grapefruit, and I don't drink. But everyone's talked about it, I've got FOMO. And then I actually found out more about it. And they were saying that in 2012, Schöfferhofer came to Food and Wine. So it was just at the Germany booth, only for those few months, but it was a breakout success. So they decided to add it into the pavilion. And when that happened, it was the only place in the US you could get Schöfferhofer. And it became so much of like a cult product, and Schoberhofer saw how big a demand there was. They started then selling it throughout the whole of the US, and now the US is the second biggest consumer of it. So I think they're just really interesting little weird tidbits and stuff like that of what's interesting. Like, yeah, there's so many interesting things about the Germany Pavilion, and I just love it. So I think a little videos about that would be really interesting too. Oh, it's very interesting, Natalie, that with the tour you have a kind of schedule that you need to stick to, so that can be a bit stressful, which does make sense because, like, if there's an unexpected delay, it is just like, oh my gosh, how are we going to cope with this? Like, everything gets thrown out of whack. But it's so cool that you kind of get to, like, yeah, just wander through the parks straight to the front, and the fact that you can park, hop, and you get the transportation. I think it sounds so much fun. It looks so good. I was obsessed with the Imagineering story on Disney Plus. It's one of my favorite things I've seen on Disney Plus. I cried at every single episode. And like you say, the history and just seeing how it evolved. And I think the reason why Disney became so successful was because they focused on the creativity, and people were so drawn in and entertained and amused and moved by it that they really bought into it, and they wanted merchandise in parks, and they would do everything. And I feel like the past couple of years, that's where Disney's gone wrong, where they're kind of focusing more on the business side and scrapping the creative side. But really, the creativity is what drove people to them. And with that comes money. And the fact that they're now focusing on business and they're making these unpopular decisions and then kind of scrapping the creative side, I think they need to get back to their core, and then the money will naturally follow. But it'll be very interesting. I mean, there's been a lot going on, hasn't there, with Disney as a company this past year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and the impact that will have on the parks. Yes, Natalie, my favourite thing about doing the Keys to the Kingdom tour was seeing the Utilidors and going under Magic Kingdom and backstage. And it's so fascinating, isn't it? There's a whole world down there. And all of this is going on. And it totally makes sense because it's one of those things that you don't really think about. But if you're in Fantasyland, you don't see someone from Frontierland, like a cast member walking through because it's their break or something. You don't. And it's obviously because they've got these corridors underneath. And it's great because it keeps everything really, you stay in the fantasy, don't you? Because you don't see crossover and random people walking around in different costumes and you're like, why are they here? So I think it's so cool. Oh, thank you so much, Jackie, for coming. It's been so nice to chat to you. So I hope you have a lovely start to the year, and I will speak to you soon, we're sure. Well, yeah, I feel like I'm taking all of your days up. I'm very sorry. But yeah, it is now basically coming up to lunchtime. If you are having a roast, I hope you have a good one. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been so amazing to chat to you all. I've absolutely enjoyed it. We'll definitely have to do more live in the future because it's been perfect. And I'm just very excited for 2023. I think everyone's got amazing plans coming up. I can't wait to share more vlogs, different types of trips. I think it's going to be so exciting. I'm so excited for Patreon and what that may be able to help people with. So I'm hoping that that's all good. And yeah, I just think the website, everything just feels like it's kind of like you've been edging towards and working on things bit by bit, and now it feels like, oh, they're starting to get to a place where they make sense and they're working. So hopefully that will continue. The website will be helpful, hopefully, this year, and we'll kind of have a new lease of life. And yeah, I just hope that'll be so exciting. It'll be good. Oh, thank you so much, Natalie. It's been so nice to have you here too and chatting. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I hope you get to enjoy the sun. But yeah, it should be so good. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you once again to everyone for all your support, your comments, your likes, your subscribes. Like, it's been wild that, you know, YouTube was something I've always watched and loved it, particularly Disney. I mean, it's primarily I watch it for Disney content, and I never ever thought about vlogging. And then Becky and Paul were the ones that encouraged me. They were like, look, just give it a go, see how it is. And I absolutely loved it. And like I said, the unexpected benefit that I didn't realise was making connections with so many people. And that has been truly the best of blessings. So 2023 was a fantastic year. So I cannot wait to see what more happens in 2023. And we can all go along on the journey. We are ready for the ride. We can do this. Oh, thank you so much for watching the videos, and Happy New Year to you too. And yeah, until next time, I hope you all have a most magical day. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oh no, this is the awkward moment, isn't it, when a live stream ends and the person's trying to find the button. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oh no.